Ethan Cole had imagined his new life on planet Lyria. 7 to be quiet, peaceful, maybe even boring. He was a simple technician from Earth, moving to a distant world for a fresh start. But the moment his transport pod opened, he felt something strange in the air, something colder than the wind. He stepped out with his suitcase, looked around, and froze. Every neighbor on the street was an alien woman, and all of them were staring directly at him. Some stood on balconies, others behind glass windows, and a few stood right on the road, silent, tall, and elegant, their strange glowing eyes following his every move. No one blinked. No one looked away. They watched him like he was a missing piece of a puzzle they had been waiting for. Ethan tried to smile nervously and walked toward his new house. But with each step, he heard whispers behind him. Soft, rhythmic whispers in a language he could not understand, but somehow the tone felt like judgment. One of the women, a tall warrior-looking figure with silver markings on her skin, lifted a small wrist device and pointed at him. A faint light scanned his body. Ethan didn't know whether to wave or run. He chose to wave. She didn't wave back. Inside the house, Ethan tried to calm himself. "Maybe they're just curious," he whispered. "A human neighbor must be rare here." But the strangeness did not stop. When he looked through his window, every alien woman on the street had moved, not randomly, but closer. Some were now standing on the sidewalk, facing his door. Others peeked around corners. One opened her window the exact second he glanced up. It felt coordinated. Too coordinated. At night, Ethan tried to sleep, but glowing lights appeared in every window around him. Whenever he shifted positions, more lights turned on, as if every neighbor was reacting to his movement. He could almost feel their eyes pressing through the walls. Then came the footsteps. Slow, heavy, right outside his door. Ethan sat up, heart racing. The footsteps stopped. Silence took over. A moment later, something brushed against the door, a soft scratch, then a click, then silence again. He waited. No one knocked. No one spoke. When he finally gathered the courage to open the door, he expected empty darkness. Instead, he saw a glowing symbol drawn across the front of his home, a perfect circle with 3 rising lines. It pulsed faintly, like it was alive. As he stared, his local guide, an elderly Lyrian man, walked by. The moment he saw the glowing mark, his face turned pale. He whispered, "Human, do not ignore this." Ethan swallowed. "What does it mean?" The guide stepped back slowly. "It means you've been chosen." "Chosen for what?" Ethan asked. The guide didn't answer. He only pointed behind Ethan. Ethan turned, and his breath stopped. Standing outside his home, in complete silence, were 5 alien women, all of them watching him, all of them waiting, and none of them blinking. Ethan stood frozen at his doorway, staring at the 5 alien women who watched him without blinking. Their glowing eyes reflected the symbol painted on his home, the strange pulsing circle with 3 rising lines. He felt like the whole street was holding its breath. One woman stepped forward. She was tall, strong, and carried the same silver markings as the warrior who scanned him earlier. Her voice was calm but sharp. "You carry the mark now, human." Ethan swallowed. "I didn't ask for a mark." "It is not something you ask for," she replied. "It is something given." Ethan had no idea what that meant, and he wasn't sure he wanted to know. Before he could speak again, an elderly Lyrian woman appeared behind the group and whispered urgently, "Take him inside. The others are watching." The others? Ethan didn't even want to turn around. He could already feel dozens of eyes staring from the shadows, rooftops, and windows. The warrior woman extended her hand. "My name is Saris. Come with me. Now." Ethan hesitated, but then he noticed something terrifying. More alien women were gathering at the far end of the street. Dozens, maybe more. And every single one of them was looking at him as if he were an important object or target. He stepped back inside his home, and Saris followed, closing the door quietly behind them. Inside, the air felt heavier. Saris pointed to the glowing mark. "Do you know what the symbol means?" Ethan shook his head. "It means candidate. You have been selected for the selection rite." "The what?" Ethan asked. Saris didn't blink. "The ancient Lyrian process. We test strength, mind, heart, and spirit. Only one is chosen each cycle. And now, the planet believes it might be you. Ethan laughed nervously. I think the planet has the wrong guy. Saris didn't smile. The planet does not choose wrong. A sudden pounding shook the door. Ethan jumped. The pounding grew louder. 3 sets of knocks, then silence. Saris whispered, They know you carry the mark. They are here to evaluate you. Evaluate me for what? A job? A ceremony? A sacrifice? Ethan tried to joke, but his voice cracked. Saris leaned closer. They're studying you as a possible partner. Partner? Like... Yes, Saris said, cutting him off. Like a mate. Ethan's mouth fell open. I just moved here. Saris stepped away and looked through a narrow slit in the window. Outside, the street was now full. Alien women stood shoulder to shoulder, forming silent rows, all staring at his door. They are waiting to see how you react, Saris whispered. Your fear, your courage, your instinct. Everything is part of the first test. I didn't sign up for any tests. She touched her wrist device. A soft hologram flickered to life, showing a tall throne room and a shadowy figure seated on a high chair. The council already watches you, Sarah said. Your evaluation begins at sunrise. Sunrise, Ethan repeated. Tomorrow? No, Sarah said. Her eyes glowed brighter. Sunrise is in 3 hours. Ethan felt his legs weaken. And outside, the neighbor still didn't blink. Ethan had 3 hours before sunrise, 3 hours before something called the evaluation began. But the truth was simple. The test had already started. Saris led him out the back door, away from the silent crowd of alien women still gathered in front of his home. The night air shimmered with strange blue particles that floated like fireflies. Ethan had no idea whether they were beautiful or dangerous. Where are we going? He whispered. To the first dome, Saris replied. It will judge you. Judge me on what? On what you truly are. That was not an answer. But Ethan didn't push further. The path curved through tall, glowing trees, their roots humming softly under his feet. It felt like the planet itself was awake and listening. When they reached a silver tower-like structure, Ethan paused. The dome was enormous, its curved surface reflecting the sky like liquid metal. Large doors opened with a deep echo, as if the building breathed. Inside, the space was empty, except for the rows of alien women standing in perfect circles. Dozens of them. Every eye followed Ethan. Every breath in the room stopped when he stepped forward. Saris whispered, Do not run. Do not freeze. Just be yourself. Ethan muttered, Myself wants to go home. But it was too late. The dome lights flickered and gravity suddenly shifted. Ethan felt his body lift a few inches off the ground, then drop back down. He stumbled, but kept his balance. A soft voice echoed through the dome. Human, your first trial begins. Panels in the walls opened, releasing flickering light illusions. Ethan blinked in confusion. An alien beast with 6 horns charged toward him, roaring. He braced for impact, but it passed straight through him like smoke. A test of fear. Ethan exhaled shakily. Okay, I get it. Then the ground beneath him shifted into floating platforms. Each time he stepped on one, it slid away or spun violently. Ethan tried to keep steady while the alien women watched silently. A test of balance. He nearly slipped twice, but forced himself to continue. He wasn't strong, he wasn't special, but he refused to fall while they stared like he was prey. The platforms vanished. Another illusion formed. This time, a small alien child trapped beneath a fallen beam, crying for help. Ethan didn't know it was part of the test. He didn't think. He moved. He sprinted toward the child, grabbed the heavy beam, and tried to lift. It was holographic, but his effort was real. I've got you, don't worry. The illusion faded. The dome fell silent. Alien women whispered among themselves, shocked. No candidate had reacted that fast in years. Sarah stared at him with new eyes. Not cold, not judging, almost impressed. Then the voice returned. The human has passed the first trial. Ethan froze. First? There are more. A shadow appeared above, a hologram of the Queen herself. Her voice was calm, powerful. "Bring him to me, now." The dome doors opened. Ethan had no choice. The next test would be in front of the Queen. Ethan followed Saris out of the dome, his heart still racing from the trials. The glowing trees outside seemed brighter now, as if the planet itself reacted to the words he passed. He didn't feel proud. He felt hunted. 2 armored guards, both alien women, tall and silent, escorted him through a crystal walkway. Saris walked beside him, her expression unreadable. Ethan whispered, "So, the Queen wants to see me. Is that normal?" "No," Saris replied. "The Queen never interferes this early." "That makes me feel so much better," Ethan muttered. The walkway opened into a throne chamber carved from living crystal, glowing softly with blue veins that pulsed like a heartbeat. Alien women lined the walls in ceremonial armor. Their eyes followed Ethan like he was a rare creature. Then the Queen appeared. She stepped forward from behind the throne, tall and graceful, her silver crown floating above her head like a ring of light. Her eyes glowed brighter than anyone Ethan had seen so far, sharp, intelligent, ancient. "Human," she said softly. "Come closer." Ethan hesitated until Saris nudged him forward. The Queen circled him slowly, studying him not with curiosity but with familiarity. Ethan finally spoke. "Why me? I'm not special. I fix machines. I burn toast. I can't even run fast." She smiled, calm, almost amused. "You think you are ordinary. Earth thinks you are ordinary. But your gene and your will are not ordinary at all." Ethan blinked. "My gene!" The Queen waved her hand and a hologram appeared. Ethan's body scanned, his DNA highlighted in bright gold. "This," she said, "is a rare human trait. One Earth never told us about." Ethan frowned. "Earth lied. Earth hides what it fears others will use," the Queen replied. "This trait makes you compatible with Lyrian lineage." Ethan stared blankly. Compatible for what? Breathing their air? Eating their food? Saris shifted awkwardly. The Queen answered for her. For choosing a mate. Ethan's brain shut down for a moment. "A mate? Me? With one of you?" "Not just one," the Queen said calmly. "Entire clans evaluated you tonight. The mark was placed because multiple factions believe you may become a potential bond partner." Ethan took a step back. No. This is a misunderstanding. I just moved to this planet. I was thinking about buying groceries." The Queen's smile faded. "Human, this is not about romance. This is about survival." "Survival?" Ethan whispered. The Queen touched the glowing veins of the wall and a map unfolded, showing enemy ships approaching Lyria 7. "Our enemies grow stronger. Lyrians require genetically compatible defenders. Humans have qualities we cannot create." Ethan shook his head. "You think I'm some kind of weapon?" "No," she said softly. "A leader." The chamber fell silent. Ethan felt like walls were closing around him. Then the Queen's eyes sharpened. "You have until nightfall to accept or refuse your place. But choose wisely." She stepped closer, her voice dropping. "Because the planet has already started choosing you." Ethan's heart pounded. He wasn't just being watched. He was being claimed. Ethan barely had time to process the Queen's words when the throne room suddenly shook. A deep rumble rolled through the crystal floor, vibrating like thunder trapped underground. Saris instantly grabbed her weapon. "They've arrived early." "Who?" Ethan asked, though he already feared the answer. The Queen pointed to the hologram map. The red dots, enemy ships, had multiplied. They were close. Too close. Enemy fleet breaching orbit, a guard shouted. Shields weakening. Alien women rushed across the chamber, activating defenses, communicating through glowing wrist devices. The once calm palace transformed into controlled chaos. Ethan felt useless, powerless. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a hero. He was just a technician who wanted a quiet life on a peaceful planet. But when he looked around, he saw something he hadn't noticed before. Fear, not in their expressions. Lyrian women were trained to hide fear, but in their movements, their hesitation, their silence. This planet, powerful and elegant, had never experienced an invasion before, and they didn't know how to react. Ethan stepped closer to Saris. What do they want? The same thing everyone wants now, Sarah said. You... Ethan felt his stomach drop. You gotta be kidding me. The Queen raised her voice. Prepare evacuation of the lower districts. No, Ethan said quietly. Everyone turned to him. Ethan stepped forward. His hands trembled, but his voice did not. If they want me, then keeping me hidden won't stop them. Let me help fight. Sarah stared at him. Human, you don't understand their strength. I don't need to understand it, Ethan said. I've seen Earth Wars. I know strategy. I know how to think under pressure. And I know how to protect people who are scared. The Queen studied him with sharp eyes. What will you do? Ethan exhaled slowly. Let me see your defense system. Moments later, they hurried into the command center. Dozens of glowing screens displayed enemy trajectories. Alien commanders argued over shield points and energy output. Ethan pushed between them. Your patterns are predictable. They'll flank your left side in minutes. A general scoffed. Humans cannot read Lyrian code. Ethan tapped a glowing panel. The formation shifted exactly how he predicted. Silence. Saris whispered. How did you? War's war, Ethan said. Doesn't matter the planet. The Queen gave a single order. Follow the humans' plan. Alarms blared. Enemy ships broke formation. Lyrian cannons rotated under Ethan's direction. Saris led a frontline squad, her movements sharp and deadly, firing precise bursts of glowing energy. Ethan watched her fight, impressed despite the chaos. But then a massive explosion rocked the palace dome. A falling crystal beam tore loose from above, heading straight for the Queen. Ethan didn't think. He sprinted faster than he ever had in his life, diving forward and shoving the Queen out of the impact zone. The beam crashed behind him, sending dust and shards across the chamber. The entire court froze. Saris called out, voice breaking slightly. Ethan! Guards rushed in, but the Queen raised her hand. She looked at Ethan, not with judgment, not with curiosity, but with respect. You risked your life for me, she said softly. Ethan coughed through the dust. Yeah, that's what humans do. The Queen stood tall, her voice echoing through the hall. The selection will continue. And now, every clan will fight to claim him. Ethan blinked. Wait, what? But outside, the alien women were already gathering again. And this time, they weren't just watching him. They wanted him. The invasion finally ended. Enemy ships retreated into the darkness of space, their formation broken by Ethan's unexpected strategy. The palace stood damaged, but still standing. Lyria, 7 had survived its first real war. But now another battle was beginning. And this time, Ethan was the center of it. Hundreds of alien women gathered across the palace courtyard. Warriors, scholars, nobles, engineers, even members of royal blood. Their glowing eyes fixed on Ethan as he stood beside Saris. Every clan had sent representatives. Each one wanted him. The Queen raised her hand and silence fell. Ethan Cole of Earth, you risked yourself for our world. You used human courage and human instinct to save our lives. Now, according to ancient law, you must choose. Ethan felt his heart banging inside his chest. Choose what exactly? Your place among us, the Queen said. A clan to join, a mate to bond with, a future to shape. The crowd's eyes shimmered with excitement and expectation. Sarah stood tall beside him, but even she didn't speak. She didn't want to influence him. Ethan looked around at the huge gathering. They weren't staring with fear anymore, but with hope, admiration, even desire. He whispered, "This is insane. I came here to start a quiet life." The Queen replied, "A quiet life does not choose people like you." Ethan closed his eyes for a moment. He remembered the first day, how the neighbors stared, how the mark appeared on his door, how the dome tested him, how Saris protected him, and how the Queen trusted him. Then he remembered Earth, ignored, overlooked, treated as ordinary. Here, they saw something in him he never saw in himself. Ethan took a breath and stepped forward. Every alien woman straightened at once. The queen asked softly, "Human, which clan will you join?" Ethan lifted his head and said words no one expected. "I choose none." A ripple of shock tore through the courtyard. Some gasped, some whispered. Ceres's eyes widened. The queen's voice dropped. "You refuse the selection?" "No," Ethan said. "I refuse the old system." Silence grew heavy. Ethan continued, "You choose mates through fear, tests, and pressure. You judge each other like objects. I don't want to be chosen like this. And I don't want anyone else to be chosen this way either." The queen stared at him with ancient, unreadable eyes. "Then what do you propose, human?" Ethan looked around at all of them. "Freedom. Let every Lyrian woman choose her own partner. Let every candidate choose two. No more rituals. No more marks on doors. No more silent watching." The courtyard shook with murmurs. No one had ever challenged the selection system. Ever. The queen stepped closer, studying him. "You would change our entire tradition?" Ethan swallowed. "If your world wants me, then it has to change with me." The queen raised her hand again. The entire palace went silent. "Very well," she said. "As of this moment, the ancient selection is abolished." Gasps, cheers, shouts, disbelief. The queen continued. "Ethan Cole is now guardian of Lyria 7. Not for a clan, not for a mate, for all." Ethan stood stunned. Ceres moved beside him slowly. "Human, you changed our whole planet." He smiled softly. "Humans are good at that." Ceres leaned close, her voice a whisper only he could hear. "Now tell me, Ethan, with all clans free, who do you choose?" Fade out on Ethan's breath catching, and the planet waiting for his answer.